Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram.
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 Siyavar Ramachandra ki
Jai.
Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj ki
Jai.
Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Shri Janaki Vallabho Vijayate Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Namah Shri Tulsidas Sadvarishtaya Dhimate Puritam Hridayam Yena Rama Premamritena Me Neelambujasyamalako Sita Samaropitavama Bhagam Panau Mahasayaka Charuchapam Namami Ramam Raghuvam Shanatham Atulita Baladhamam Hema Shailabhadeham Danujavana Krishanum Jnaninam Agraganyam Sakala Gunanidhanam Vanaranam Adhisham Raghupati Priya Bhaktam Vatajatam Namami. So in this UttaraKanda, we have seen Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra's Rajyabhisheka, and Tulsidas Ji also explains how Ramarajya was, how the people were, and what kind of governance was there, and what is the Siddhanta behind them. Bhautika Ramarajya as well as Adhyatmika Ramarajya, Tulsidas Ji has explained, we have seen in the last session. We also saw that different great sadhus, saints, noble people used to visit, and different kinds of samvada used to happen. Some of them are mentioned here. Sanakadi Munis come once, and they want to see Bhagavan. So because they are there, Bhagavan explains the importance of Satsanga to everybody, and then they do stuti also. We also saw Naradji comes very often. Vasishtha Rishi himself also comes. That also episode we have seen. We also saw that Tulsidas Ji doesn't mention anything about Sita Parityaga or whatever happened after that. Just mentions that both of them had two sons, Lava and Kusha. Their story etc. is not explained in Ramacharitmanas. Okay, in Valmiki Ramayana etc. you will find those stories. And finally we saw in short, Tulsidas Ji not even actually mentioning, just hinting that Bhagavan has completed his avatara karya and has gone back to his dhama. Again, as I said in Valmiki Ramayana etc., that elaborate prasanga is there, that he takes all the Ayodhya Vasis to Sharayu Ghata, Sharayu Tira, and there, they take dip in Sharayu, and he takes all of them to Saketa Loka. All Ayodhya Vasis are liberated. But here he just mentions that Bhagavan along with Lakshmanji, Bharatji, Shatrugnaji and Hanumanji went once, and Bhagavan said, I am very tired. So they sat down in one garden. Naradji came there, and Naradji did stuti over. That is how he says that avatara karya is concluded. Now, we go back to the story. this entire story, how did we come to know? So Tulsidas Ji had initially said that there are 4 ghats to this Manasarovar. This Ramacharitamanas has got 4 ghats. And in all the 4 ghats, this katha is going on. One is Jnana Ghat, where Shiva Parvati Samvada is happening. Shivji is telling the story to Parvati Ji. Then Bhakti Ghat is there, where Kakabhushundi Ji is telling the story to Garuda. Then there is Karma Ghat also, where Yajnavalkya Rishi is telling the story to Bharadwaja Muni. And then 4th is Dina Ghat, where Tulsidas Ji is telling the story either to all of us or to his mind, right? And to some other saints also who have gathered. So we see that this story was happening in different places, and therefore in different sections Tulsidas Ji is using different things. For example, some episode will be there and then he will say, Uma, I enjoyed, or that happened and this should be done. So by that we understand that, okay, this is Shivji telling to Parvati. Sometimes he will say Khagesha. Khagesha is Garuda. So we understand that Kakabhushundi Ji is telling the story. We already saw the main story, how Yajnavalkya Rishi goes there for, Mela, Magha Mela, and then Bharadwaja Muni says, you please stay back, and wants to listen. So now Shivji is telling to Parvati Ji. He says, this Rama Katha, Girija, Sunahu Bisadaya Katha, me Sabakahi Mori Mati Jatha, Ramacharitamanas Satha Apara, Shruti Sarada Anabarani Para. Hey Girija, O Parvati, Yathamati, according to my understanding, I have told this story to you. And how I came to know this story? So he says, once I heard this story from Kakabhushundi Ji. Now you see, when we were seeing that entire parampara, we didn't study it like this. We said, Shivji is the main pravartaka of this Ramakatha, isn't it? We said that he had kept it in his mind and then he brought it out. And when he was telling to Parvati Ji, some other people also heard. Lomasha Rishi heard, and that is how it came to Kakabhushundi Ji, and then from Kakabhushundi Ji, Garuda Ji got. Then Yajnavalkya Rishi also got it from like that we have seen. Now here Shivji says that I heard it also from Kakabhushundi. And whatever I have understood, he says also that, I have told you. Now Parvati Ji says, see, how did Kakabhushundi Ji, and what is the connection? So now she has so many questions related to that. Now Ramaji's katha is over. She says, see, first of all, how did Kakabhushundi, Kaka means crow. He is in the form of a crow. How did that crow, how did that crow get bhakti, jnana, vairagya and all these kind of things? How did that crow get? And if you say that no, he had it before, then the question is, how did he become crow then? If he had all the gunas before, then why did he become crow? And if you say it happened later, how in the crow's body he got all these things? 2 questions very important. Number 3, how and when did you listen? So far I was thinking that you are telling. How did you listen? When? And how did Garuda go to Kakabhushundi Ji to listen? So now answers Shivji is giving. He says, all these questions that you are asking, that how did he get Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti, etc. in the embodiment of crow, the same question Garuda Ji also asked him. So I will tell you what happened that later. First I will tell you how I came to know about Kakabhushundi Ji and how I heard the story. He says, it is back in your previous birth, when you were sati, you gave up the body. And Tulsidas Ji also had mentioned that once that Bhagavan went there and we saw that dead body, he got so much of Vairagya that he kept roaming here and there, and wherever some katha is happening, he will sit there for some time, then he will go forward. He said, like that when I was roaming, I went to this Meru Parvata. Meru is a group of mountains, mountain range it is. And in that there is a Nilagiri mountain. On that there was Kakabhushundi Ji. And beautiful explanation is given, that there are 4 trees. That there is people tree, and then there is a pakri, one kind of sub branch of people only. And then there is also mango tree, and then there is Vatavriksha also. The 4 trees are there, and Kakabhushundi ji keeps on doing sadhanas in these 4, under the 4 trees. So when I went there, I heard, and it was such a sweet thing that I stayed there and I listened to the entire Ramakatha from Kakabhushundi ji. He says, but the thing was that when that Kakabhushundi ji will tell the story, so the description is given that early morning he will get up and under a peepal tree he will do dhyana abhyas, he will meditate. Crow, okay, imagine. Crow is meditating. And then under the pakri tree he will go and he will do yajna, japa yajna, etc. he will do. Then he will go under a mango tree, towards the afternoon, and he will do puja, etc. And then in the evening he will come under Vatavruksha and he will narrate this Ramakatha to all the birds. Okay. And Shivji says, how can I go? So he says, I took form of Hamsa and I went there and I listened to the entire story. That is how I have heard this story from Kakabhushundi ji. Now if you go a little deeper into this, these 4 sadhanas that he is doing, dhyana, yajna, japa, puja and Ramakatha, these are the 4 sadhanas of 4 yugas. We said no earlier also, Tulsidas ji had mentioned that in Satya Yuga dhyana is most important, Treta Yuga yajna is more important, puja is important sadhana for Dwapar Yuga, and then in Kali Yuga japa or katha is the main sadhana. So he says he used to do all that, and like this he has lived for 28 kalpas. Ashtavimshatame is going on, no? So he has lived all these kalpas doing this. So I heard this story from this Kakabhushundi ji. Now, the second question was how Garuda ji came to know. He said there is a very interesting story. What? In the Ramayana Katha we saw that in the final battle, once that Meghanada came and he put Nagastra on everybody. Not Meghanada, Ravana himself came. No? And that's where we see also that suddenly Vibhishana also gets angry and Vibhishana fights, and so one day Jambavan also fights. So all of them are put under that Nagastra. And we saw that Naradji came there and he asked Garuda to come there and release everybody. Isn't it? He said after Garuda did that, he started to think, this Sri Ramachandra is supposed to be my Bhagavan Vishnu. He keeps on releasing everybody from bandha, samsara bandha also, and he could not release himself. I have to go. How? Very interesting thing about Garudaji is when he got this doubt, he started to think, because he understood that something wrong I am thinking. I should get this answer and I should not have that doubt, but somehow I am getting the doubt, so let me think. So he thought he could not get the answer, so he went to Naradji. And he said, Naradji, I am a little confused about this. So can you please explain why this is happening? See, he did not get any kind of ahankara, etc. that way. Some ahankara must be there, that's why doubt has come. But he did not do anything wrong. So he went to Naradji. Naradji smiled and he said, the Bhagavan's Maya is like that only. It puts everybody under, some confusion. I also went through it. Now you are going through it. So you go to Brahmaji. He will be able to answer. So he went to Brahmaji. Brahmaji heard the whole thing. He said, you do one thing, you go to Shivji. He will answer. And Garudaji, very humble. He did not complain. What is this? You are sending me from here to there. No, he went. He went to Shivji. Shivji said, just now I came from Kakabhushundi ji hearing this Ramakatha. Why don't you go there? I saw that all the birds are sitting there. You are also a bird. Go there. So it is said Garudaji went there to that Nilagiri Parvata in that Sumeru, and he saw that the description is such that the moment you enter into that area only, you are all confusion, doubts, everything will go. You have not yet heard Katha. So that much was the greatness of Kakabhushundiji's presence there and sadhana there, that anybody coming into that radius only, everybody will have absolute clarity. So Garudaji went there and he said, I have come, Shivji sent me. Kakabhushundiji welcomed him. See, Garuda, for Vishnu Bhaktas, Garudaji has got very high position because he is Bhagavan's Vahana. So Kakabhushundi ji prostrated and he said, how come you are here and so nice to see you? He said, no, I have come to listen to you, your Rama katha. So he says, just now one katha has gotten over, the another is starting. And then he started saying that actually you don't need, you are Sakshat Bhagavan Swahana, etc. Garudaji said, no, something is wrong with my mind. That is why I think it is good if I listen to the whole thing. So Garudaji sat there and listened to the entire Rama katha. Now Tulsidas Ji, while saying this, tells the entire katha again. That is what we see, no, so many times it has happened. When Hanumanji is telling to Bharata, that entire katha will come. Hanumanji is telling to Vibhishana, that entire katha will come. In actual also, Valmiki Ramayana also you will see. Though the main story is told once, but in short, how many times that same story is repeated? In first chapter also is entire Rama katha. Isn't it? In 100 slokas, entire story is narrated. Narad Ji is telling it to Valmiki Ji. Then Valmiki Ji elaborates it. And then within the story, so many times the whole thing comes up. So, taking this, again Tulsidas Ji has explained. But while explaining, some interesting things will come up. So, those are also there. Kakabhushundi Ji is telling to Garuda Ji the importance of Harikatha. And very famous Doha, Chopai is there, Doha and Chopai. Binu satasangana Harikatha. तेहि बिनु मोह न भाग मोह गए बिनु राम पद होई न दृढ़ अनुराग. दोहा number 61. He says, Binu satsanga na harikatha. Without satsanga, you cannot listen to harikatha. Very important thing. Harikatha, Bhagavan's kathas are not something that you can hear just like that. Satsanga is very important. Whether that satsanga is of the book, of the physical presence or online, whatever, but it is required. And that is why it is said that when you listen to Bhagavan's stories, you should listen from Bhakta. See, we are so lucky that we are listening to Tulsidas Ji's story. Otherwise, if he is not telling, if somebody else is writing Ramayana story and we are reading that or listening, we will not get the correct result of it. Because Tulsidas Ji brings out so much of bhava, then it becomes Harikatha. Right? Binu satasangana Harikatha. Tehi binu mohana bhaga. Without that Harikatha, listening to that, moha will not run away. Moha will not go away. Delusion will not go. Moha gaye binu Rama pada hoi na dridha anurag. And unless your delusion has gone, you will not have that dridha anurag, that firm devotion, love for the feet of Bhagavan. Next, Chopai he says, Milahi na Raghupati binu anuraga. Ye joga tapa jnana bhiraga. And if you do not have that love for Bhagavan's feet, how will you gain Bhagavan? So it all again starts from Satsanga. Isn't it? Bhajagovindam also we saw, in all the other texts also we are seeing, here also again and again it is coming. So Kakabhushundi Ji also mentions this. He also mentions while saying Shrota Lakshana. Guruji used to explain that different kinds of Shrotas are there. Sota. One kind of Shrota is Sota. Keeps sleeping. Sleeping and sleeping, both. Means what? Something will happen and sleep. Slip into some other thoughts and go somewhere else, or sleeping. Sota. He says another is Shrota. Shrota in Hindi means for that beetle nut to cut, no, they will use that nutcracker. That's called Shrota. He says they will listen how, every single thing that the Pravakta or Pravachankarta is telling, they will cut it. How is it possible? No. So very few people are Shrota. Who is Shrota? 69th Doha he says, Shrota sumati susila suchi katha rasika haridas payuma ati gopyamapi sajjana karahi prakas. Shrota sumati, one who has got good intelligence. Sushila, one who has got good character. Suchi, pure intentions, pure mind. Katha rasika, and loves to listen to the stories of Bhagavan. And Haridas is the devotee of Bhagavan. That person is Shrota. Payuma, when such a Shrota is gained by the speaker, ati gopyam api sajjana kari prakash. Shivji says that the Pravakta, even if something which is very secret and hidden, etc., he will tell that. Why? Because the Shrota is ready. So that Shrota Lakshana is also given here. He explains Maya concept also, very beautiful explanation is there of Maya. Earlier also we have seen Vidya Maya and Avidya Maya is there. Here he explains that this Avidya Maya has got parivar. Avidya Maya's parivar is there. Who is the parivar of Avidya Maya? 3 types of Eshanas is the parivar of Avidya Maya. Earlier we have seen Putraishana, Vittaishana, Lokaishana. All these are parivar janas of this Avidya Maya. And then Avidya Maya has got a Sena also. Army also is there. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, etc. All these vices, they are Shadripus. They are the Maya Sena. And of course he mentions that this Maya dilutes everyone. But if you surrender to Bhagavan, Maya will not do anything to you. So like this, Kakabhushundi Ji tells the entire story to Garuda Ji again. Then he says, actually Garuda Ji, once I also had this moha. So remember, Shivji had told that Garuda Ji also asked, how did you become like this? Did you have all these gunas before? Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya. Did you have it before? Did you gain it later? If you had it before, how did you become crow? If you gained it later, how did you gain it? So now he starts that story. What interesting story it is. First he tells that, I have been in this crow body for 27 kalpas, 27 Chaturyugas. And every yuga, every Treta Yuga, when Sri Ramachandra is born in Ayodhya, I go there. Why? He says, I love Bala Rama. See, devotees of Rama are many, but different people will have different kinds of, Rupa of Bhagavan which they like. You must have seen also many people like Vanavasi Ram. Bhagavan with jata and, wearing only one that cloth and then having Dhanushabana in hand and walking barefoot. That is the form that some people like. Some people like Raja Ram. With all the alankaras, etc. He is sitting there with Sita Ji, etc. with entire parivar. Some people like that. Some people like Balaram. Small Rama. So he says, Kakabhushundi, because I am crow, nobody can stop me from going anywhere. So every yuga Bhagavan is born, I go there. Once, and how Bhagavan, he says, Bhagavan plays with me. So I go there and I sit as a crow and Bhagavan will be crawling and he will have something to eat in his hand and he will show it to me. If I go to take it, he will snatch it and run away. If I don't go, then he will start crying. So when he used to play all these things, he says, once I got this confusion, is this Parabrahma Paramatma? What is happening? So Bhagavan wanted to show, and therefore he started coming behind me running with hands stretched. So I started running away from him and he started coming. So he said, I went above in the sky, I looked behind, still he is coming behind me. I went still further, I went beyond Brahmanda, I looked, he is still behind me, 2 feet away from me. And still I went further and I saw all the Brahmandas, etc. I can see, I can look behind, he is still there 2 feet away from me. And I became so scared that I closed my eyes. And when I opened my eyes, I was in Ayodhya. I was sitting in that prakara, that entire area of that palace, and Bhagavan is in front of me with his hands stretched, showing me the food. And he says, as I was looking, Bhagavan opened his mouth and he ate me. I went inside Bhagavan's mouth and I saw all the Brahmandas, what I saw from there far, I saw it inside. Now inside that Brahmanda, as I started going, there is one more Ayodhya, one more Sri Rama is there, and then I am going there. He said, now I got confused. Am I outside Bhagavan's mouth or inside Bhagavan? What is happening? He said, I did not understand all these things. I fell at the feet of whichever Rama I saw. I don't know whether it was inside that Rama or outside. I don't know. There was one Balarama. I fell at the feet and I said, Bhagavan, please remove this Maya. And Bhagavan removed that entire Maya from me and asked me, what do you want? And I said, Bhagavan, please give me that bhakti. And I should be able to sing your glories all the time. And that is how he blessed me. and that is how I have been doing this. You see, Sati ji got moha seeing the Viraha Leela of Bhagavan, that when Sita ji was separated, she could not believe that he is crying so much for a lady. We saw that Garuda ji also got moha by seeing Rana Leela of Bhagavan, isn't it? And now Kakabhushundi ji got moha by Bala Leela of Bhagavan. That is how Bhagavan's Leelas are. And now when Bhagavan gave this boon to Kakabhushundi ji, Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra explains Bhakti Mahima to Kakabhushundi ji. So you see from Doha number 86 to 104, this entire description is of the glory of Bhakti, which in different parts we have already seen. But now Sri Ramachandra is telling this to Kakabhushundi ji. Kakabhushundi ji says, I was so happy that I got all these things, but I will tell you, Garuda ji, I was not always like this. Now he starts to tell stories of his many lives. Another very interesting story. He says, once upon a time in one kalpa, in one Kali Yuga of that kalpa, I was born in a family of a Shudra. And said, I was born in Ayodhya. But I had no understanding of what Ayodhya is, what is the glory of that place, what is the glory of Sri Rama, Vishnu. I did not know anything. He says, actually speaking, I used to hate Vishnu Bhagavan. Why? Because I love Shivji. So because I loved Shivji, I used to hate Vishnu Bhagavan. So once I got this opportunity that famine or something was there, and I left that Ayodhya and I went to Ujjain. Ujjain is Mahakal Kshetra, Shivji's Kshetra. So I went there and I started doing Shiva Bhakti. There I met one Brahmana Guru. And that Guru was so compassionate. He kept on explaining to me that, your love for Shivji is very good, but you should not hate other gods. And Vishnu and Shiva are one and the same. They do bhakti of each other. Shivji's Ishta Devata is Sri Ramachandra. Sri Ramachandra's Ishta Devata is Shivji. You should not have this hatred. He said, and I was so fool that I kept on arguing with him, saying that no, Shivji only, Shivji only. It is said one day, I was sitting in one Shiva temple and Guru walked in. And I did not get up. I did not give respect to Guru. He said, Guru did not feel anything. But Shivji got angry on me. And Akashvani happened that, you fool, you are sitting, not moving when Guru has walked in. You become Ajgara. Ajgara is python. It doesn't move. It remains like that. You must have seen. Most lethargic animal, it is said, is that python. Once it sits there, for months together it doesn't move. He says, you are like that only, you become that. And that Akashvani was there, I started to shiver. See, I loved only Shivji. And that Shivji only is now cursing me. And I started to shiver like that. And my Guru was so compassionate, he came in between and he started to do stuti of Shivji. This is the most famous stuti, which is also called as Rudra Ashtakam. I am sure you must have heard this stuti. Have you heard this stuti? Namamisha Mishana Nirvana Rupam Vibhum Vyapakam Brahma Veda Swarupam Nijam Nirgunam Nirvikalpam Niriham Chidakasham Akasha Vasam Bhajeham. After Doha number 107, this stuti is there, 8 verses, Sanskrit verses are composed, the stuti of Shivji. That this Shudra boy's Guru did. This is very famous stuti. In North, etc., Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, etc., if you go, they are very popular. This is Ujjain, etc., so much more popular this is, right? So Guru did the stuti of Shivji and Shivji became pleased and came there. And Guru said, Bhagavan, you have come here, so naturally I will get bhakti, there is no doubt about it. But I want to request one more thing. What? My Shishya, you just cursed him. He will suffer a lot, Bhagavan. Please do something. And he said, I was shivering and I could not believe. I was earlier arguing with that Guru and saying that Shivji is only there, Vishnu Bhagavan I don't like and all these things. And now that Guruji always says, that if God becomes angry on you, Guru will come and save. But if Guru becomes angry on you, God also will not save. Guru will only save. If God got angry on Kakabhushundi, that earlier Janma, Guru came. And Guru came in between and said to God, don't become angry. This is my Shishya, Pavam fellow, don't do like this. So he is taking that case and going to Bhagavan and saying, please. He says, but if Guru becomes angry, then God will not come and save. He says, Guru becomes angry, only Guru can save. So, Shivji said, okay, but I have given the curse now. Okay. So, he will have to be born as that python and, many embodiments he will have to take. Because now he is already, from human being, now he is cursed to become animal. But, in all those embodiments, he will continue to have this knowledge. That is something that I can do. And then, after all these embodiments, he will be born in Ayodhya again. Then he looks at this boy and says, you see, when you are born there, don't have hatred for Vishnu Bhagavan or Ramchandra Ji. Okay? You will need to have bhakti for both. That is the correct way of doing. You can't love one and hate other. Then that is not love. That is hatred only manifesting as love. The real love cannot have hatred for anybody else. Never disrespect your Guru. Continue to serve all the noble people, Brahmanas, saints, etc. And then you will be able to gain that Rama Bhakti. Like this, Bhagavan Shivji blessed him. It is said in Guru Gita. Guru Gita is another portion where Shivji is teaching to Parvati. There he says, Shive rushte gurustrata, Gurau rushte nakashana, Labdhva kulagurum samyak, Gurumeva samashrayet. He says, if Shiva becomes angry, Guru will protect. But if Guru becomes angry, nobody will protect. Nakashana trata, there is no other protector. And therefore, once you have gained the Guru, you should samashrayat, you totally should surrender to Guru. Right? And he says that blessing of Shivji and more than that blessing of my Guru, after all these embodiments, I got so many embodiments, in all of them I remembered the knowledge and what I have gone through. And he said, finally, I was born in Ayodhya in a Brahmana Kula. And in that, my father wanted me to study, become, some big scholar, etc. But I didn't have any interest. I only loved Rama. Sri Ramachandra was the only love for me. And therefore, I left my home and went into forest. When I went into the forest, whoever I will meet, I will listen to Sri Ramachandra's katha from them. He says, once, Lomasha Rishi came there. And this Lomasha Rishi, under this banyan tree in Meru Parvata, was telling, was sitting there, and therefore I approached, and I asked him, now I was a Brahmana boy, so I asked him, Bhagavan, please give me the procedure of doing this bhakti sadhana. What are the different types of sadhanas and what can be done? You please tell me that. He said, and that Lomasha Rishi said, why you want to do bhakti sadhana? The supreme most God is Nirguna Nirakara Brahman only. There is only one sadhana that you should perform. Sit, close your eyes and say that this supreme Brahman is my own self. Do. He said, but I don't want to do that. I don't like Nirguna. I want Saguna only. Lomasha Rishi said, I am telling you, Nirguna is the highest. I said, no, I am only going to. And he said, we kept on arguing and it became a fight, where he continued to prove to me that Nirguna is highest and therefore you should do that. And I continued to say that, no, I like Saguna only and I want to do this. He said, it became so much that Lomasha Rishi got little angry on me. And he said, you are a dumb fellow. Your buddhi is like that of crow only. So you become crow. He said, but last time when I got this kind of curse from Shivji, I was shivering. I didn't know what to do. He said, this time when I was like, okay, I want to do Sri Ramachandra's bhakti in this body or in crow's body, how does it matter? So he said, I happily became crow. When I happily became crow, Lomasha Rishi called me. And he felt bad that he gave me this curse. And he said, how come you are not angry or you are not sad? He said, no, it doesn't matter. Very beautiful. He says, a very famous line this is. He says, Sunu khagesa nahi kachurishu rishi dushana urapreraka raghubamsa vibhushana. Guruji loves this line a lot. He says, urapreraka raghubamsa vibhushana. He will always say that urapreraka. Urapreraka, how do you translate? Staying in the heart, Bhagavan keeps inspiring and guiding different people. And therefore, every thought that every person gets and every speech that every person says is coming from Bhagavan only. So, I am not angry on that Rishi because I thought that same Sri Rama whom I worship is sitting in the heart of that Lomasha Rishi and is telling me to become crow. I don't have any problem. When Lomasha Rishi heard this, he felt so bad. But curse is given, he has already become crow now. So he said then that Lomasha Rishi took me and gave me Upadesha of this Ramanama. He gave me this Ramanama. He told me the entire story of Ramakatha and he blessed me that I will be able to continuously tell the story. And that is how in the same place, the Meru Parvata, that under that Vatavriksha, from where I listen to the story from Lomasha Rishi, I keep telling that story to everybody. And that is how I have been here for 27 kalpas now, 28 kalpas. So that is the interesting story of Kakabhushundi Ji. Now, I'll tell you, see, when we listen to all these stories though, they appear very strange, but very amazing in the sense, important points are given. I remember once, these kind of questions we keep getting. That when we are in temple and if Guru is there, should we prostrate or not? Because God is there and all these questions. Elders also there sometimes with us. Should we prostrate to the elders? Many times in the villages, etc., we meet most of the people in the temple only. And I remember Guruji telling, you people go to temple and do everything other than looking at Bhagavan. You keep chatting away, something about this and that, and then my daughter's marriage and my son's marriage and my this and my that. He said, you have gone to temple, go to Bhagavan straight away. So once I asked Swamiji, I said, Swamiji, I understand the entire logic that I was studying at that time, that you go straight to Bhagavan and don't go here and there, etc. But what if Guru is there? And I remember Swamiji telling me that no, the only person whom you can prostrate in the temple other than Bhagavan is Guru. So when they come there, you must get up. Without disturbing them, prostrate to them. Don't have to go in between. Guru is prostrating to Shivji and then suddenly you come in between. Don't do that. Let him do his things. But you must get up. You must show that respect. You must prostrate from wherever you are. But you must do that. I am saying Shivji because Jagadishwara temple, no? So we asked that question there itself. But this is something that we must learn. Guru has that level of respect that we must always get. And mind you, Bhagavan is not angry. Bhagavan gets angry if you do not show that respect. That's what that Shudra boy did. Kakabhushundi Ji's previous Janma, isn't it? And therefore, we learn so many things from this entire story. And you see another thing, he has gone through so much, so many different embodiments he has gone through, but he is still having that kind of bhakti. He says also that actually I got two gurus. One was that one guru in Ujjain who prayed for me and saved me. And he says second is Lomasha Rishi who gave me that Rama mantra and told me the entire Ramakatha. He says because of them I am able to do this. And like this he continues to tell different things to Garuda Bhagavan. And when Kakabhushundi is telling, it is a perfect balance of jnana and bhakti we see. He explains one entire 4 or 5 dohas are there where entire concept of jnana is explained. And Garuda Ji asks that when we listen, We heard that Lomasha Rishi wanted you to have that Nirguna Jnana, but you chose Saguna Bhakti. So what is the difference between Jnana and Bhakti? You kept on saying that no, I want Saguna, and he kept on saying no, you should have Nirguna. What is the difference between Jnana and Bhakti? This is what Garuda Ji asked. Kakabhushundi says that actually speaking, Bhakti and Jnana are one and the same. Now look at the order also. Garuda Ji is asking what is the difference between Jnana and Bhakti. Why is he choosing Jnana? Because he is of that kind. He thinks that Jnana is most important. Therefore he says, what is the difference? But when Kakabhushundi is answering, he says actually Bhakti and Jnana are same. He doesn't say Jnana and Bhakti. He says Bhakti and Jnana. Bhagati pacha takari raheo dinhi maharishi sapa munidar labha barpayo dekho bhajana sant pratapa. He says, I will tell you that both Bhakti and Jnana are same. In what way? He says both of them have got same phala. So from the standpoint of goal, sadhya, from that standpoint, both are same. Why? Because both will lead to moksha. But sadhana standpoint, both are different. Means what? Jnana sadhana, or what is famously called as Jnana Yoga, Jnana Marga, and Bhakti sadhana, Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Marga, those two are different. But from the sadhya standpoint, Jnana and Bhakti are same. Both lead to moksha. We see in Bhagavad Gita throughout this topic coming. Bhagavan keeps saying that Jnana and Bhakti has got same goal. So the pinnacle of Bhakti is Jnana only and pinnacle of Jnana is Bhakti only. There is no confusion there. The paths may be different. And now he, taking this as a cue, he explains that the Jnana Marga is Purushartha Pradhana. You have to put efforts. Whereas Bhakti Marga is Samarpana Pradhana. You surrender. Bhagavan takes care of everything. He says Jnana Marga is Vichara Pradhan. The predominance is into thinking, reflection. Isn't it? Logical reasoning. Whereas Bhakti Marga or Bhakti Yoga is Prema Pradhan. They don't bring logic into it every time. Not that it is illogical. Prema doesn't have logic doesn't mean it is illogical. But it is not in the purview of logic. It's different. Gurudev beautifully used to explain this as head and heart. So if we have to progress, we must put this head and heart together. He always will speak of this mind and intellect and integration of both of them. He will always say this. Isn't it? That personality should marry each other, he will say. If you have only head, no use. Why? Because knowledge without devotion will give rise to ego. He says knowledge without devotion is dry. And devotion without knowledge is superstitious. It is just bunch of superstitions. So knowledge and devotion together have to go. Very beautiful simile is given here by Tulsidas Ji. When Kakabhushundi Ji is explaining to Guruji, he says, you see Jnana, Vairagya, Vijnana, Viveka, all these are masculine gender words. And Bhakti, Maya, they are feminine gender words. He said these masculine gender words will get confused because of the feminine gender words. He says if there is only Jnana, that Jnana will be tormented by Maya. Maya will tempt that Jnani and will make that Jnani do different things. We say also, na? Mera tera tera, mera tera mera, mera tera, yahi Prabhu ki Maya. इससे कौन बच पाया? Who is saved from here? ऋषियों को, ज्ञानियों को, गुणियों को, ज्ञानियों को, सबको इसने नचाया. इससे कौन बच पाया? He says this jnana, if that is captured by Maya, then confusion. So what you should do? He says jnana should marry bhakti. Then other woman will not be in his mind. Other woman is Maya. He says bhakti is Bhagavan's wife and Maya is Bhagavan's dasi. There is a difference. Now, when he says this, Bhakti and Maya, we have to understand is that Vidya Maya, what we have learnt. Right? One is Bhagavan's wife. Why Bhagavan's wife? Once you have that Bhakti in your mind, along with the Jnana, you have Bhakti, then Maya will not trouble you. If that Bhakti is not there, then Maya will trouble you. That is the logic that he explains. He goes on to say that, how this Maya troubles, how Jiva considers himself to be different from Ishvara. Tattvabodha lesson he gives. Jiva Ishwaram Bhinnatvena Janati. Isn't it? Avidyopadissan Atma Jiva Ityuchyate Mayopadissan Ishvara Ityuchyate. Just want to tell you that in this semester itself you have learned Tattvabodha, and it will be good if you remember all these points. So how Jiva considers himself to be different from Ishvara, that is called Maya. Jiva is Maya Dasa. Ishvara is Maya Pati. Maya Pati means he is the controller of Maya, whereas we are controlled by Maya. And therefore we consider ourselves to be different from Ishvara. But essentially we are one with that Ishvara, we are one with that Brahman. This Maya will be removed when we become Bhagavan's Bhakta. Why? Because once you become Bhagavan's Bhakta, Maya cannot touch you. He says, no. Mame vaye prapadyante maya metam tarandite. If you surrender to Bhagavan, you become his Bhakta, then it will not do anything. So like this, he explains very beautifully this entire concept of Jnana. He also says that, in Jnana Marga, you have to drop your ego at the final stage. That's the final stage. Dropping ego means now you have realized. He says in Bhakti Marga, that is the first step. So though many times it is said Bhakti Marga is very easy, anybody can do. Yes, but there is a requirement. You have to give up your ego. Then it is easy. Or what is there? You just have to go there and sit there and don't do anything. That is easy for people who are made for that. If there are people who want to do things, not meant for such people. And therefore, he says that you see in Bhakti Marga, what is the last step of Jnana is the first step of Bhakti. So he explains the Jnana concept using the metaphor of Deepa. He gives different metaphors. He gives, one extended metaphor of milk is there. Then milk becomes curd, curd becomes buttermilk, buttermilk becomes butter, and then what all things are there? Oh, so many such metaphors and similes and all these are there. But main is that Jnana Deepa, how to lighten that lamp of knowledge. Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradipaha. In Bhagavad Gita also it is there. No? So the Jnana Deepa is explained. Then he comes to explanation of Bhakti. And he says Bhakti is like money. What kind of money? Money is jewel or gem. So self-luminous jewel is this Bhakti. And then he describes that Bhakti also. And how this Bhakti is higher than Jnana. See, Bhakti Shastra, naturally, you don't expect that Bhakti to be anywhere lower. But here Tulsidas Ji concludes by saying, you see, actually speaking, Bhakti will destroy all your kama, krodha, lobha, etc., all the doshas. How? It says, using the shield of Vairagya and sword of knowledge. So Bhakti uses Vairagya and Jnana to destroy all the negativities of the sadhaka. Hold on to this thought, because when we start Bhagavatam, the first topic will be this. In the Padma Purana, that Mahatmya itself. Bhakti is the mother, has got two sons, Jnana and Vairagya. So we will see the entire thing coming in a different way described there. But he explains this. So after listening to the whole thing, whether it is Bhakti Shastra, Vedanta Shastra, whatever, we finally come to again these three things, Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya. This is how we started our Satsang, you remember? Whether it was Bhaja Govindam, we said only three paths are there. Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya. Vairagya is Karma Yoga only. And whether how these three are there, these three remove the three Ashanas, These three remove kama, krodha, lobha, etc. The three gateways to hell. Remember? All that concept which we had seen, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Finally, he concludes with that 3 only. And he says, whether you say Jnana Deepa or Bhakti Mani or whatever you want to say, that is how it is. In short, if you also see, Sri Ramachandra is Jnana, Sita ji is Bhakti, and Lakshmana is Vairagya. You see? Everywhere that alone is there. So, with this, he is concluding. But then, Garudaji says, I have 7 questions. Huh? Now, after everything is over, he said yes. On together, all 7 have come. But because we are at a short of time, therefore, let us do rapid fire round. So, Garudaji asks in half line, Kakabhushundi ji explains in half line. That is how 7 questions and 7 answers are given at the end. Really, I am not joking. Not because I have to finish fast. In 4 dohas only, 4 or 5 dohas only, they have completed all 7 questions and 7 answers. There is no much description. Otherwise, these 7 questions when you say, then you suddenly go 49th verse of Vivek Chudamani, Ko nama bandha katamesha agata katam pratisthasya katam vim kosavanatma paramakka tayor viveka katam etaducchatam. And after that 530 verses answering that 7 questions. Now here we are coming towards end and now he is asking short questions, very rapidly asked and rapidly answered. He says question number 1, which is the rarest of the embodiments? You know the answer. It's the human embodiment. Manushya Janma, Manushya Sharira is the rarest. Why? Because there is Karma Swatantraya. Isn't it? This is the first topic that even Sri Ramachandra took when he was giving that Upadesha to the Ayodhya Vasis, Purajana Gita. First topic he says is how rare is this human life. And therefore you should not waste it. Remember, that's what he explained. Here also he said. Second question, what is the greatest sorrow in the world? Kakabhushundi says greatest sorrow is Daridrata, poverty. Now this Daridrata, different people have understood it differently. Daridrata, outside poverty is you don't have money. Inside poverty is you don't have love, you don't have thinking capacity. That is also Daridrata only. Vachane kim Daridrata, some people have Daridrata of talking also. Little good things if they have to say to somebody, no, they can't. But say no, it was nice. Why unnecessarily to say? Vachane ka Daridrata, say it was nice. How very wonderful program you did. What a nice dance and what a nice songs. Very, very good. You don't need any money to do that, but Daridrata is everywhere. So Vachane also Daridrata is there for many people. Third question. What is the greatest joy in the world? He says, greatest joy in the world is to meet saints. Santa Milana is the greatest joy. We don't have to mention also. So far, so many times it has come. Question number 4. What are the characteristics of Santa and Asanta? Now, this was the question asked by Bharatji to Sri Ramachandra. So again, the detailed explanation of all these questions is already given. Now he is just giving one line. There, if you remember, Sri Ramachandra gave one example that Santa are like the sandalwood tree and Asanta are like the axe. Now here, he explains that metaphor and simile and says that saints are those who take trouble on themselves to benefit others. And he says Asanta, ignoble people are those who who take efforts themselves to trouble others. He says that is the difference between Santa and Asanta. Gurudev's famous line is there, no? Cultured give happiness wherever they go. Uncultured also give happiness whenever they go. Says both are giving joy only to the people. But how? Whenever they go away, people are happy. Means when they are there, they keep troubling. That is what is there. Then he asks 5th question. Which is the greatest punya, merit? What is the greatest punya? He says ahimsa is the greatest punya. Non-injury. Not even thinking bad about anybody else. That is the greatest punya. Which is the worst papa? Sixth question. He says greatest sin, worst sin is criticizing other people. Paraninda. That is the greatest papa. Then he asks, when you were explaining that Jnana Deepa, Bhakti Mani, etc., you said that this Bhakti Mani will remove all the Manas Rogas, all the mental diseases. What are those mental diseases that are removed by this Bhakti? Very beautiful description is there. This actually, the seventh question only is little more detailed explanation. So I tell you, there also it is like this only. If you see even 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asks questions. Remember? Veji, we have only reached 5th chapter, but you have studied Bhagavad Gita before, no? 7th chapter end, Bhagavan says something, and from that he asks 7 questions. There are also 7 questions. Isn't it? 7 only, no? Kim karatarma kim adhyatma, and then adi yajna, adi bhuta, etc. And then there is one long descriptive type answer. All first 6 he answers in one word. Swabhavam adhyatmam. Okay, done. What is adhyatma? You ask. Swabhava is adhyatma. He goes. And then the 7th is answered, elaborately. How can somebody remembering you reach you? That is given, that entire chapter is for that. Here also it is like that. Now he describes Kamadi doshas, we know, are the Manasika Rogas, are our mental diseases, and all of them are coming from that Ajnana, which is the root cause. Now he starts to explain, and what beautiful explanation is there. See, now Manasa Rogas is said, no? Now Roga is expertise of Ayurveda. So he takes the concepts of Ayurveda and explains it in Vedantic way. So in Ayurveda they say we have 3 parameters, 3 gunas: Vata, Kapha and Pitta. Vata, Pitta, Kapha. He says this Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Vata is like Kama. When it is on the rise, lots of desires arise in us. He says Kapha is Lobha. It keeps multiplying. Kapha is like that. And he says Pitta, fire, no, is Krodha, anger. So like this, when something overpowers, what happens? And that kind of explanation he has given. He has even explained that there is a disease called cancer. And Ahankara is the cancer. He says, he is not word, of course he has not used the word cancer there. Uncontrollable growth. But that's what in today's term we call as cancer. He says that which eats away your life and that which ends your life is Ahankara. Ahankara is the cancer, he says. And to remove all these diseases, what? In Ayurveda, they will never speak of only medicine. Only Aushadhi is not there. There is Pathya also is there. You see? Pathya means precautionary rules. That you can't say that you just have to take medicine. No. Pathya is there, and with that Pathya some Aushadhi will be there. So he says like that, if you want to get rid of all these mano rogas, then Pathya is Manas Sayyama and Aushadhi is Bhakti. Now carefully you see, if we do not practice Sayyama, controlling the mind, but we keep on doing Bhakti, it will not work. Means what? In Bhakti you are generating love, generating energy, and then it is getting dissipated into the worldly enjoyments. So Manas Sayyama, that is Vairagya. That Pathya along with Aushadhi. And he says, you know who is the doctor? Sri Ramachandra is the Vaidya. He is the doctor. What a beautiful way of describing this Manas Rogas. And with this, the dialogue between Kakabhushundi Ji and Garuda Ji concludes by showing the Mahima of Bhakti. Now Shivji also comes and says to Parvati Ji, therefore I also am concluding with the same point, that the greatest sadhana is Bhakti, which is gained by listening to the stories of Sri Ramachandra, which I had kept it in my mind and I had told you when you asked, when you were ready for it. And with this, he also describes who are eligible to listen to this Ramakatha, who are not eligible, whom you should not tell this Ramakatha. He says those who do not have faith, those who do not have any kind of love, those who only use their brain. He says, I am not saying anything. He says to them you should not tell Ramakatha. Whereas those people who are full of faith and prema for Bhagavan, to them you should tell Ramakatha. And that is why, seeing you that you are eligible, I have told you. Shivji says to Parvati ji. Parvati ji says, I am very happy and fulfilled that you told me. Thank you very much. Now I have got so much of devotion for Sri Ramachandra in my heart. That is what is supposed to be the result of Ramakatha, and that has happened. With this, the second ghat also concludes. Bhakti Ghata is Kakabhushundi ji and Garuda. That has concluded. First Ghata is Jnana Ghata, Shivji and Parvati ji. Now we come to the fourth Ghata, Tulsidas Ji. He starts to conclude. Are Ved ji, but what happened to that third Ghata Yajna? It is said that katha never concluded. Why? Because it is Karma Ghata. Karma is unending. Karma never ends. Isn't it logic? So karma never ends. So they say that katha is going on in different places. Yajnavalkya Bharadwaja Samvada is going on. And when everybody was going to Saketa Loka with Bhagavan, Hanumanji said, I don't want to come. All are going. Bhagavan is taking everybody to Saketa Loka. Hanumanji said, I don't want to come. He says, then what do you want to do? He says, you please give me boon that I should be able to take as many forms as I can in order to listen to every Ramakatha that is going everywhere. That is why we keep Hanumanji's asana. Why? Anywhere Ramakatha is going on, he will come there and sit and he will listen. And Bhagavan gave that. So that katha continues. But Jnana Ghat, Bhakti Ghat and now Dina Ghat will conclude. So Bhakti Ghat we saw, Jnana Ghat, now Tulsidas Ji also concludes. Beautiful way of concluding. He tells, I told the entire Ramakatha as per my understanding, and you know how I am, and I am Dina. I am the worst kind of person, and even the best cannot tell, then how can worst tell, etc., etc. He says all those things, and then he sings very beautiful things for Bhagavan also. Sundara Sujana Kripa Nidhana Anata Parakara Pritijo Soeka Ram Akama Hita Nirbana Pradasama Anako Jaki Kripa Lavalesate Matimanda Tulsidas Ji Payo Parama Bishramu Rama Samana Prabhunahi Kahu. From this only, Guruji has composed that song which I sang in the beginning. Rama Sundara Hai Sujana. See, Sundara Sujana Kripa Nidhan. That same things. Dina Hita Karuna Nidhan. That is how from this doha only, inspired by that only, Guruji has written that. How is Sri Ramachandra? Sundara, beautiful of course, but Sujana, such an understanding, intelligent. Kripa Nidhana is compassionate. Anatha Parakara Pritijo, and he always loves those people who have no other support, no other ashraya. So Eka Rama. There is only one like that, and that is Sri Rama. Akama Hita. He is beneficial to us for no reason. Causeless compassion. Nirbana Pradasama Anako. Who is there like Sri Rama who can give you nirvana, moksha? Jaki Kripa Lavalesate, by whose wee bit of grace, Matimanda Tulsidas Ji, this absolute idiot Tulsidas, he is telling, Payo Parama Bhishrama, I got that final rest. Rama Samana Prabhu Nahi Kahu. There is no master like Sri Ramachandra. With that, Tulsidas Ji is concluding. There are some more, you see, so many things are so beautiful. If you see that last doha also, this is the chandas, just before the last doha. You see the doha also, he says, Mo sama dina, na dina hita tumha samana raghubir. He says, there is nobody as dina as me, but there is nobody as dina hita like you. So we are perfect combination. What perfect combination? I am the worst and you always save the worst. That's the perfect combination. There's no, you are best in saving the worst. and I am the worst. So I am the other half of you, in a way. And that is why asa bichari raghubam samani harahu bishama bhavabhir. Considering like this, oh Bhagavan, please remove this fear of samsara from my mind. He concludes with some Sanskrit shlokas also. Mangala adau mangala madhye mangala ante. We started with mangala shlokas in Balakanda, 7 shlokas were there. Then in every other kanda, beginning was mangalacharana. Now also 2 Sanskrit shlokas are given here. Tulsidas Ji concludes. He says, Yat purvam prabhuna kritam sukavina Shri Shambhuna Durgamam Srimad Rama Padabja Bhakti Manisham Praptyetu Ramayanam Matva Tad Raghunatham Raghunatha Nama Niratam. There is something. Matva Tad Raghunatha Nama Niratam Swantas Tamas Shantaye Bhasha Baddamidam Chakara Tulasi Dasas Tatha Manasam. He says, why I composed this Manasa, how it came. He says, Yat Purvam Prabhuna Kritam, that which was created earlier by my Lord. Who? Sukavina Shri Shambhuna, by that Shivji who is very good poet. Durgamam Srimad Rama Padabja Bhaktim. For what? To gain that devotion at the feet of Sri Ramachandra, the one that was composed by Shivji, Prapti, in order to gain that bhakti, Ramayanam which he had created, Manasam. Now that I have created as Ramacharitamanasa. Why? Matva. Considering Tad Raghunatha Nama Niratam, that I become engaged in chanting Bhagavan's name, Swa Antaha Tamaha Shantaye, in order to remove the darkness which is there inside me. Very clear. Tulsidas Ji earlier also he has said, More mana prabodha jai hoi. In beginning also he said, Swantas sukhaya. He says now, to remove that darkness of ignorance from my mind, in order to chant Bhagavan's name, Bhasha baddamidam chakara. Tulsidasaha, this Tulsidasa chakara. He said this, Bhasha baddam, which is composed in vernacular language, Avadhi Bhasha. That is Manasam, that is called as Ramacharitamanasa. Last shloka, Phalashruthi, he does. Punyam papaharam sada shivakaram Vijnana Bhakti pradam Maya moha malapaham suvimalam Premambu puram shubham Srimad Ramacharitamanas Bhaktyavagahantiye Te samsara patanga ghora kiranaihi Dahyanti no manavaha. He says, this Srimad Ramacharitamanas is the only time when he has used the full name. He says this Ramacharitamanas, Punyam, is most meritorious. Papaharam, remover of sins. Sada Shivakaram, always giver of auspiciousness. Vijnana Bhakti Pradam, is giver of that Vijnana, pure knowledge, and also Bhakti, pure devotion. Maya Moham, Moha Mala Apaham, one that destroys the Mala, impurity of Maya Moha, the impurity called as delusion or ignorance, or the impurity that rises from ignorance and delusion. It removes all that Mala. Suvimalam, which is extremely pure. Prema Ambu Puram, that which is filled with the water of love. What is this water coming? Manasam, no? It's a pond. So pond has to be filled with water. What is the water? Prema. Filled with that water of love. Shubham, that auspicious. He says, Ye manava, ye bhaktya avagahanti. Those who take dip into this water, bhaktya, with devotion, te manavaha, those humans, samsara patanga ghora kiranaihi na udahyanti. They are not burnt. No dahyanti, they are not burnt. Burnt by what? By the scorching sun rays of samsara. Samsara patanga. Patanga is that sun. It goes up, na? So, samsara patanga ghora kiranaihi no dahyanti. So, take dip into this Ramacharitamanasa so that samsara will not burn you. See, that is what Tulsidas Ji says, and he concludes the entire Ramacharitamanasa. We saw right in the first session also, Tulsidas Ji has started with the Akshara Va and also has ended with Akshara Va. Isn't it? Manavaha. He ends with Manavaha. And the first one was, let us chant together. Varnanam artha sanghanam rasanam chandasamapi mangalanam chakartarau vande vani vinayakau. We always chant the first sloka at the end of the text so that we remember that the study is going on, the study is not completed. So, by God's grace, Sri Ramachandra's grace, Hanumanji's grace, grace of our Pujya Gurudev, and the grace of Tulsidas Ji himself, we were able to study this most wonderful, beautiful story of Sri Ramachandra told by Tulsidas Ji. In the beginning shlokas that we chant, there is one shloka on Tulsidas Ji which we chant, which I had not explained the meaning. Now I will explain. Namah Shri Tulsidasa Sadvarishtaya Dhimate Puritam Hridayam Yena Rama Premamritena Me. Namaha. Namaha means what? I offer my salutations. Whom are you offering your salutations? Namah Shri Tulsidasa. I offer my salutations to Tulsidas Ji. Sadvarishtaya, who is the best among the noble people. Varishtaya, Sadvarishtaya. Varishtha means higher. Satvarishtaya means among the Santas, he is Varishtha. Dhimate is extremely wise. And Yena me hridayam puritam, who filled my heart with what? Rama prema amritena, with the nectar of love of Sri Ramachandra. Okay. So to that Tulsidas Ji, I offer my salutations. So by God's grace, as I said, we are coming towards the conclusion of this Ramacharitamanas. Veera Maruti Gambhira Maruti,
Veera Maruti Gambhira Maruti,
Veera Maruti Gambhira Maruti,
Veera Maruti Gambhira Maruti,
Veera Maruti Ati Dhira 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 Maruti,
Gita Maruti Sangita Maruti,
Gita Maruti Sangita Maruti,
Gita Maruti Sangita Maruti,
Gita Maruti Sangita Maruti,
Duta Maruti Rama Duta 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 Maruti,
Bhakta Maruti Parama Bhakta 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 Maruti,
Veera Maruti Gambhira Maruti,
Veera Maruti Gambhira Maruti,
Gambhira Maruti,
Gambhira Maruti,
Gambhira Maruti,
Gambhira Maruti.
सियावर रामचंद्र की
जय,
पवन सुत हनुमान की
जय,
उमापति महादेव की
जय,
बोलो भाई सब संतन की
जय,
सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की
जय।
ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।